Some of you weren't sure. Am I supposed to look at the screen and pray? Do I have to bow, close my eyes? One eye open, one eye closed? It all counts. It all counts. Hey, it is a new year, and it got me to thinking just a little bit, and I want to take you back. It was about 7 and almost a half years ago, for me anyway, that a big transition took place in my life, and I was kind of on the edge and on the verge. I had been at Mountain Ridge as a part of the staff team for about 15 years already at that point. And our founding pastor, our lead pastor, Monty Patton, was moving on to other things, and I was kind of lined up to step in and become the new pastor. And it was one of those moments, and I think most of you understand this, you've been in it, or maybe you're in it right now, where you know what's been, and you see what's out in front, but you're kind of stuck in the middle at the moment. Like, you know where you've been and what you've been doing, and you know there's something coming. But in the meantime, in the middle time, you're just kind of stuck in that transition. And for me, it was one of those moments of anticipation on the positive side. There was a lot of optimism, a lot of energy, and lots of opportunities, and excited about what was in front of me. But on the other side, there was some anxiety and some fear and some doubt. And it made sense on paper, right? I mean, I grew up in church. I went to college here at a local Christian Baptist college. I went to seminary in Texas and spent 3 years trying to understand and learn what it meant to be a minister and a pastor. And I had been in ministry for a long time, over 20 years in a couple of different churches. And so everything lined up on paper that made a lot of sense. And like I said, it was that uncertainty, that in-between moment of feeling like, I know what I've done, I see what's in front of me, but I'm kind of stuck in the middle at the moment. And most of us feel that when it comes to transitions, whether they're big transitions, because pastoring a church is a weighty thing. I'm not asking you to feel sorry for me. I'm just saying it is a weighty thing, and it was something that you don't really know until you do it, what it's like. And so many of you face those kind of transitions all the time. Whether it's kind of those later in life transitions as you deal with the loss of people, as you think about retirement, as you think about some of those things, or maybe it's the very front end of life where you're just graduating from high school or college and kind of like, okay, I guess I get to be an adult now. And those transition moments are so important, and they're actually really daunting at times. But it all depends on your perspective, doesn't it? Because I had another big transition that happened. This one happened about 25 years ago. My oldest daughter, Marissa, who's probably, I don't know, she's probably 3 or 4 at the time. And she got her very first big girl bed and was going to be in her own bedroom, right? You guys remember this? Any of this? Yeah. And so we did all the things, right? We set the room up. We moved all her stuff in, put the bed together. It ended up being a long day. And she was so excited and so, just over the moon about having her own bed and having her own room and doing all the things. And so we got her in, and it was a little later than usual. We finally got her ready for bed and did all the normal stuff, got bath, got on pajamas and read, and we prayed together and tucked her in and, all the stuff. And Donna and I go down the hall, and we're not going to bed yet, but we're pretty exhausted, and we just kind of crash in our room. And think, hey, okay, you know what? Cool, easy transition, easy moment. I don't know, 15, 30 minutes later, hear this kind of ruffling and Daddy, I'm like, what? And open the door, and she's out there, and she's standing in the hallway. Eyes are all watery, lips are kind of pushed out, her chin's kind of quivering just a little bit. She says, Daddy, I'm scared. Can I sleep in here tonight? And what are you supposed to do? And I said, no, we can't take the chance of the monsters under your bed following you in here and getting us. We can't take that chance. I didn't say that. I said, you know what, let's try again. And so we did all the things, and she was fine. She went to bed, and she went to sleep. And that reminded me, and I got to throw this in because it's 2026. Do you know that the boogeyman checks under his bed every night, too? The boogeyman checks under his bed for Chuck Norris. You know why? Because we fear death, but death fears Chuck Norris. And so he's got to make sure, I promise, just one time, one Chuck Norris joke this year. And it goes to show, it doesn't matter what you think of the transition that somebody else is making, but your transition is always important. Your transition always matters. And your transition always creates some of the same uncertainty and anxiety and optimism all at the same time. And the reason I'm telling you this is because we're all in a transition in the sense that we're starting a brand new year. And for some of you think, it's going to be the exact same as last year. It's not. You may think that, but it's not. And some of you know it's not going to be the same. There's going to be some great things that happen that you didn't know were coming. And there's going to be some really hard things that are going to happen that you didn't know was coming. And if that wasn't enough, here's the thing that I think is the reason all of us need to pay attention to transitions today. If you're a follower of Jesus, God has a big plan for you in 2026. And he has strategically thought through where he is going to send you out. And if you take that seriously, don't let this just bounce off like church speak. Oh, okay, God's got a plan and, I'm supposed to be sent and all that. No. If you let the weight of that hit you for just a moment, that God has a specific plan for you in 2026, and he is sending you specifically to certain places for a reason this year. Oh. See, because I was kind of planning on some other things. I was thinking about some other stuff. And that's enough, I think, to make us all realize that we are in a moment of transition. And the calendar changing in one sense doesn't change anything. But in another sense, it's a great reminder that God is at work among us. And that God is sending us places and that we need to pay attention to that. And there's going to be things that he does and places that he puts us and the plan that he has for us that's going to make us be filled with optimism and excitement and energy. And there's going to be things and stuff he puts in front of us that is going to fill us with fear and doubt and uncertainty. So how do you respond when you're in a season of transition? There's an incredible story in the Old Testament about a man named Joshua that went through a transition, and we just heard about it. Brad kind of previewed that Joshua went through this transition, and Joshua followed someone. Even if you've never read the Bible, you've probably heard of Moses. Joshua followed Moses, and so no pressure. This guy led well over a couple million people out of slavery and helped him get established as a nation, and all these things, and just incredible leadership that Moses showed. So much so, we don't even talk about any other world leaders at that time. There's Moses, and then there were a bunch of other guys doing stuff. We don't even know their names. Moses was just that big, that looming, and Joshua is set up to follow him. It's a pretty big transition. And so if you've got a Bible or you want to follow along in the app, we're going to be in Joshua chapter 1. Because in Joshua 1, we kind of see the aftermath. Moses has died. And now Joshua is getting ready to lead. And God speaks directly to Joshua because he seems to have a little sense of hesitation, a little bit of uncertainty about what's going on here. Joshua 1, verse 1. It says, after the death of Moses, the servant of the Lord said to Joshua, son of Nun, Moses' aide, Moses, my servant, is dead. Now then, you and all these people, get ready to cross the Jordan River into the land I'm about to give to them, to the Israelites. I will give you every place where you set your foot as I promised Moses. Your territory will extend from the desert to Lebanon and from the great river, the Euphrates, all of the Hittite country to the Mediterranean Sea in the west. No one will be able to stand against you all the days of your life. As I was with Moses, so I will be with you. I will never leave you or forsake you. Be strong and courageous because you will lead these people to inherit the land I swore to their ancestors to give them. Okay. So if you don't know the story, it's pretty straightforward. In Numbers 29, Moses told everybody, hey, he's still alive. I'm gonna be passing soon, and Joshua's gonna be in charge. And then again in Deuteronomy 31, he tells them, hey, I'm on my deathbed, literally on my deathbed. He's gonna be the new leader. You need to follow him. Everything was set up for Joshua to lead. Everything was in place. And God comes to Joshua because of his hesitation, his uncertainty. And he tells him something. He says, Joshua, listen to me, man. I know this transition seems big, but I need you to understand a couple of things. One, I've got a plan for you. I do. I have a plan for this. This isn't random. This isn't an accident. Two, I'm going to supply all the power you need to do the things I'm putting in front of you. I will be the engine that drives this. You are going to go along and you are going to be willing, but I'm going to provide the power. And three, not only is there a plan and not only is there power, but my presence is going to go with you. I am going to be with you in this no matter what. Now fast forward that to you and to whatever transitions you're thinking about. Again, whether it's just simply the new year and the new calendar and I hadn't really thought through much, or maybe you're facing some of the biggest transitions of your life. As you are going to get married, you're going to start a new job, your kids are going to get married, you're going to retire from your job, whatever it might be, and there may be some that are coming that you don't even know yet. But as these transitions come in front of you, God's promise to Joshua is the same promise he makes to you. He says, I've got a plan for you. This isn't random. This isn't out of control. This isn't anything that surprised me. I knew all of this was coming. And by the way, I will give you the power. I will give you the strength. I will give you what you need to move through it. And by the way, I'm going to go with you. I'm going to be present with you. You don't have to do this by yourself. And I think it's really important because I don't know what you think of your future. Some of you might be really excited. Some of you might be discouraged. Some of you might just kind of be, I don't know. I really don't know what's coming. But as you think about the future, it's okay to feel uncertain. It's not okay to be panicked or paralyzed. It's okay to be uncertain. But you shouldn't be panicked and paralyzed if you're a follower of Jesus because he gives you this promise. I've got a plan. I'm going to give you the power, and I'm going to go with you. So whatever it is that's coming, we're okay. Now for Joshua, he said, listen, Joshua, I got this specific land I want you to go to, and he describes it. And if you know anything about geography, I mean, that's mostly present-day Israel is what he described. It's a little bigger than that, or the description that Joshua got is a little bigger than present-day Israel, but it's that part of the world. He says, I'm going to give you all of this promised land. And I said earlier that you're sent. Do you know what your promised land looks like? Your promised land looks like your cul-de-sac. It looks like your company. It looks like your classroom. God is sending you, just like he sent Joshua, but he's sending you to a different place. He's sending you to your family, the people you live with. He's sending you to your extended family, the people that you rub shoulders with and are connected with. He's sending you to your job if you're at work. He is sending you to school. He's sending you to your neighborhood. He's sending you to all of these places. And for some of us, we immediately kind of step back from that. Maybe not physically, but mentally, we kind of step back and go, yeah, I don't know about that. I don't know if that's really for me. I mean, I get it, and, I don't want to be negative or anything, but that doesn't really sound like that's for me. And God says, listen, I made a promise that I have a plan and that I will give you the power, and most important, that I will go with you. You see, the only reason Moses was ever successful as a leader is because of God's presence. The only reason that Joshua was able to do what he did is because of God's presence. The only way I was ever able to become a pastor of this church is because of God's presence. And the only way you're going to effectively deal with your future and follow where God is sending you is because of God's presence. It is that singular truth that empowers everything else. But because God knows us so well, he gives us more. Look at verse 7. He says, again, this is God speaking to Joshua. He said, be strong and very courageous. Be careful to obey all the law that my servant Moses gave you. Do not turn from it to the right or to the left, that you may be successful wherever you go. Keep this book of the law always on your lips. Meditate on it day and night, so that you might be careful to do everything written in it. Then you will be prosperous and successful. Have I not commanded you? Be strong and courageous. Do not be afraid. Do not be discouraged, for the Lord your God will be with you wherever you go. I love this because God tells Joshua 3 times in 2 paragraphs, be strong and courageous. Now, you don't have to be a literary scholar. You don't have to be a biblical genius. Why do you think God had to tell him 3 times in 2 paragraphs to be strong and courageous? Because he wasn't, right? Because he wasn't feeling that. And just like you, when a moment ago I said that you're sent, and you're sent to all of these places, and you might respond to that and say, I'm not feeling that. I don't know if I can orient my life like that. I don't know if I want to. And really what's underneath it is the same thing that's underneath it when I hesitate. Is my family really going to listen to me if I try to show them Jesus? Do I think they'll really listen? I mean, the people I live with, my roommate, they see me every day. They see my life. And I don't know if they would really believe me. They might think I'm like a hypocrite or something. And if I go into work, and I really go into work and try to represent Jesus to all the people that I work with, like, that could actually get me in some trouble, right? And my neighbors, come on. I don't even know my neighbors. Like, we have the wave agreement. If we happen to accidentally see somebody outside, we wave at each other, and then we quickly go back inside. The garage door goes up, the garage door goes down, and then we don't see them until tomorrow when they go to work. Like, that's the neighbor agreement. I don't even know them, and I don't even know if I want to get to know them. And you're telling me I'm supposed to be sent to them. And there's some fear there. There's some doubt there. There's some uncertainty. How is that even going to work? How would I do that? What would it look like? I don't even know if I can do that. And if you're feeling that, you're in good company, because Joshua, who followed Moses, felt the exact same thing. So much so that God had to tell him over and over again, be strong and courageous, be strong and courageous, be strong and courageous. And he promised him, I'm going to go with you. I'll provide the power that you need. I've got a plan for you. I'm with you. I'm in this. We're going to do this together. It's you and me, Joshua. We got this. And he says the exact same thing to you. But then he gets very, very specific, and he makes him a promise. He makes him a promise that a lot of people overlook. He says, Joshua, if you will pay attention to this book of the law, for us, that's this. It's a Bible. Now, in Joshua's day and time, there were only the first 5 books, but we have the benefit of having the whole thing now. He said, Joshua, if you will read my word, if you will think about my word, if you will study my word, if you will meditate on my word, if you will dedicate yourself to this, not for an academic pursuit, not so that you know a lot of Bible trivia, not so that you can impress other people with all the things you've learned, none of those reasons. If you will read it so that you do what it says. Now watch this. He makes a huge promise. God says, I promise to make you prosperous and successful. Find that anywhere else. God says to Joshua and to you, if you will take in my word, read it, think about it, talk about it, meditate on it, with the single goal of putting it into practice, God promises you, I'll make you prosperous and successful. Now, this isn't about wealth. It's not about, okay, well, I read the Bible, so I'm waiting for my bank account to grow. Like, it doesn't work like that. This is, I will give you a rich life, a life that is obviously and clearly blessed by me, and a life that is obviously and clearly a blessing to others. I will make you prosperous and successful. You will live in peace and stability. It's a promise from God. This isn't preacher talk. This isn't church stuff. This isn't trying to manipulate you into anything. God himself is telling you, as you face transitions, as you think about uncertainty, as you get ready to go forward into the future, I want to make you prosperous and successful, and I'm giving you the path. Read, think about, talk about, meditate on my word so that you can put it into practice. And I will love, enjoy making you prosperous and successful in life. I want you to hear my friend Brandon's story, because Brandon has just jumped into this. Because some of you might be like Brandon. You say, well, I've never really read the Bible a lot on my own. I've never really spent a lot of time with it. That's where Brandon was at. And I want you to listen very quickly, just the beginning of his experience of reading God's word.
Hey, so the other day, I saw you and Danny sitting together reading the Bible.
Yep.
How long have you guys been doing that?
So we started that back in August. We meet once a week, every Thursday. After I drop Xander off, I come in, go through Bible study, and go through life, and it's been awesome.
I mean, that's really pretty amazing. How do you think reading the Bible with someone has kind of impacted your day-to-day life?
So it started when Danny and I were talking. For me, it's keeping me more accountable.
Okay.
Holding me to the standard of, you need to be doing this.
Yeah.
Because with everybody, the day-to-day life, it makes it hard to just park yourself down, get into the Word, and really live through it.
Yeah.
So Danny, it kind of just formed where it was like, yeah, I need somebody to hold me accountable, and he guides me, gives me lessons. I have homework, and we go through, and I get deeper into the Word.
Yeah. And I don't know, maybe you felt like you kind of knew a lot of it already, but what would you tell somebody that maybe hasn't read the Bible very much, if they were thinking about getting started to read the Bible? What would you tell them? What have you learned?
What I've learned is you're always going to learn something new.
Okay.
No matter what, because we always read it at different seasons of our life.
Yep.
So, and then eventually you're going to go through different seasons, and then you go back and read it again, and it's like, holy cow, now I understand this verse a little bit differently, or I understand this verse even deeper now.
Okay.
It's just one of those things where you think you know everything, you don't.
Right.
We
You're kind
really
of picking
don't.
up stuff fresh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fresh eyes, fresh feel,
Right.
just emotion.
Yeah.
You know, it can get more emotional.
Yep.
The older you get and the more seasoned you get, you're gonna learn a lot more.
What do you think, and I know this is kind of a hard question, it's a little more personal, but how do you think reading the Bible has impacted your connection to God? Like just how you connect with God and how you hear God and all of that. How has reading the Bible impacted that for you?
For me, it's strengthened my understanding of he truly loves us, and he wants what's best for us, and he cares about us. No matter how far away we've strayed, no matter the things we've done, it always comes back to that he loves us so deeply. And every time I get deeper into one of our Bible verses or anything we're going through in life, it just hits harder. The more you get into it, and the more you keep, coming back to it, and you just realize, like, yeah, he does love me.
Yeah.
Like, I could do some of the worst things on the planet, but ultimately, the Father loves you and wants you.
Man, first of all, I'm just really proud of you because I know. Well, no, I'm serious. I know not a lot of people they're intimidated by the Bible, or they feel like it's for somebody else. And man, I'm proud of you for reading it, and I'm proud of you for letting it work in your heart and change you. That's been my experience too. I've been reading the Bible a long time, and it's the exact same things you shared. It changes how you see God. It changes how you think about your own life and your accountability. And when you get to do it with other people, you hear their insight and their impact too. So, man, I really appreciate that you're doing it.
Thank you.
I'm glad to see God at work in you. That's fantastic.
Definitely. He's definitely changing me.
Yeah.
One of our sayings in our weekly is old Brandon, new Brandon. And new Brandon is all glory to God.
Yeah.
Like, he's the one that's done this.
Yeah.
It hasn't been me. It hasn't been anybody else. He just grabbed me, and he's not letting go anymore. So.
So I don't know where you're at. You may be thinking about the next year. You may be excited about it. You may be kind of shrugging your shoulders, whatever it is. But God's telling you today, even if you're not yet a follower of Jesus, he wants you to know this, that your life has purpose and you have my promise. That's God's word to you. Your life has purpose and you have my promise. His promise is the same to you as it is to anyone else. He wants to make you prosperous and successful, and he does it as you read his word. Now, if you are a follower of Jesus, the stakes go up, admittedly, because you are sent. You are being sent. Now, you don't have to go. You can ignore it. You can put it to the side. You can pretend like you didn't hear it. But the reality is, if you're a follower of Jesus, you are being sent, and there's some things that you need to know because it's easy to be overwhelmed by that. And so I want to speak to just a couple of quick things before we get done today. There are some things that you need to know that we can be together if we are going out sent. And the first thing that we can be is strong and courageous. Strong and courageous. This is not about living a life that shrinks back, that holds back, that kind of cowers, that holds on, that waits, that kind of bunkers down and hunkers down. It's not that kind of life. It is a strong and courageous life. And guys, I want to talk to you for just a minute, and I don't mean any shade to the ladies. I am married to one of the strongest women I've ever met. She is just as strong and courageous as I am. But guys, I need to talk to you for just a moment, because if you are a follower of Jesus and you are in a family, you have been called to be the spiritual leader of your family. And I know there's a feeling of that, and you're like, I don't even know what that means. And I know that in today's culture that some people look at that like, well, why are the men the leaders, and are they better? No, it doesn't have anything to do with that. Here's what it has to do with. If you're called to be the spiritual leader of a family, that just means you go first, especially when it's hard. That's what it means. You go first. If you happen to have the privilege of being married, that means you go first and don't let your wife go first. You go first when it's hard. You take care of it for her because you're the spiritual leader. If you're blessed to be a father, it means in wisdom and as lovingly as you can, you go first, and you go first when it's hard for your kids. It means if you have an extended family, it means that you go first for them. You try to bring them to Christ. You try to show them Christ. You go first. That's what it means to be a spiritual leader. That going first, I am going to show up and I'm going to be the first one to serve. I am going to show up and I am going to be the first one to sacrifice. I am going to show up and I am going to be the first one to stand up for what I know is right and what I know is and against what I know is wrong. I'm going to be the first one to show compassion. I'm going to be the first one to show people what Jesus looks like. I'm going to be the first one to tell people what Jesus looks like. That's what it looks like to be strong and courageous, and that's what it means to be a spiritual leader in your family. And guys, step into it. Do not shrink back from it. Do not allow yourself out of laziness or inconvenience or uncertainty or anything else to hold back. because God has wired you that way. He has put a plan in place for you to live that way. He will give you the power to pull it off, and he will go with you. But you got to be willing to go. He's sending you. Everything is laid out in front of you. And I know it's hard. That's why he's promising you, you can be strong and courageous because I'm going to go with you. And it applies to all of us, but it especially applies to those of you that are called to be spiritual leaders. Second thing we know we can be is prosperous and successful. We already talked about it. You heard Brandon's story. As a church, we love to look at Scripture together. We do it every Sunday when we gather for worship. We do it in our community groups. If you're not in a group, you need to get in a group. It is a group designed to help you do two things: grow in your relationship with God and grow in your relationship with others. And it happens, it's centered around looking at Scripture together. You need to be reading it. You need to be talking about it. You need to bring your family together and share. What did you learn? What did God say to you? How did you see this working out? When you read about this, how did you feel? What did you think? It needs to be a center point of your life because God says, I want to make you prosperous and successful. And it happens through studying, reading, thinking about, and focusing on my word. Because I'll make you prosperous and successful. And in a few minutes, Pastor Corey's going to come up here and share with you how you can do a 90-day reading plan that'll get you through the New Testament in 90 days. And I know that sounds like a lot, but the truth of the matter is for a lot of us, if you cut your scrolling time in half, you could probably read through the whole Bible in about 90 days. But we're just talking about the New Testament. This is a great place to start. If you say, hey, I'm interested in reading the Bible, but come on, I don't really know where to go. I don't know how to do it. I don't know how to stay on track. This plan that we can send to you is a great way to introduce you to that and get you going. You can be prosperous and successful. And then the last thing that's going to happen as we do this together is we're going to be focused on going. You've heard us talk about this before, and we are going to be focused on going. You're going to be focused on going. Some of it you're going to go on your own because we don't all go to your work and we don't all live with your family, but we are going to all go together. I had a little bit of time off last week, and I was at home, and I noticed something. I have about 11, 12-year-old dog, and I love my dog. Her name's Balin. She's a 12-year-old boxer, and she's kind of a grumpy old lady a little bit, just kind of describes her. But I noticed something about her. Do you know what she does all day long? Nothing. She does nothing. And here's the real problem with doing nothing. You're so easily distracted. A rabbit runs by, I better go check that out. Gotta go see what's going on. Dog a few yards down barks, I gotta go check that out, see what's going on. Leaf gets blown by the wind, I better go check that out and see what's going on. She's distracted by everything because she does nothing. I know some people like that, but not you. You're sent. You have a focus and a mission. And we are focused on going. We are going to the people that God has placed in our lives that we live with. We are going to the people that God has placed in our lives that we're related to, the people we work with, and even here at our church, the people that we love and worship with. We're focused on going. And I know when you hear that, you might think, my goodness. This is like comprehensive. You're saying everywhere I go, I have to be kind of on mission and have to adjust my life to this? Following Jesus is not a part-time thing. Following Jesus is life. Of course you're sent everywhere you go. And the truth is that going where I'm sent, that's what sets me up for success. Going where I am sent sets me up for success. And it is all-encompassing. And it does take over your life. But it is a prosperous and successful life. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to go together, joyfully, because God is sending us. We're not going to shrink back when we've been sent out. And so as we kind of move through this time of transition, as we think about going into 2026, for a lot of you, everything fires off tomorrow morning. I encourage you, go knowing that you're sent, but also go knowing that God has a plan. And he will provide the power, and he promises to go with you. And so even if you're in a moment of transition, transitions actually have a wonderful feature to them. They don't have to be scary. Transitions are reminders to retarget our focus. You have a focus, you have a plan, and God is sending you. Step into it. Would you pray with me? Father, I thank you for the story of Joshua. And I thank you that a leader at his level and a man that we read about in Scripture as one of the great ones had the same hesitations and uncertainty and doubts that we have. And so, Father, as we get ready to transition into a new year, my prayer is for those of us that know you, that we would embrace the idea of being sent, that we would relish it and know that we can go with confidence, not because of who we are, but because of who you are and what you promised to do for us and with us. And Father, I pray that you give all of us the courage to test you, to test your promise about making us prosperous and successful by reading your word. Father, let it form us, speak to us, let us find Christ in it, and let us do what it says. It's in his name we pray.